Spider-Man is finally back, and this is Tom Holland's fourth solo Spider-Man movie. But somehow, Brand New Day actually feels like the start of something new. Before we go any further, this review is completely spoiler-free. No major plot points, no surprises ruined, and I'm not touching those mysterious new characters. Promise. Today we're answering one simple question. Did Spider-Man Brand New Day actually give Peter Parker the fresh start Marvel promised? Honestly? Yeah, it did. It's not perfect. We'll get to the issues in a bit. But when it comes to Peter Parker himself, this movie understands Spider-Man better than almost anything Marvel has done with him before. And the biggest reason is pretty simple. This finally feels like Peter's movie. Think about Tom Holland's original trilogy. Peter was always tied to something bigger. Tony Stark, the Avengers, Stark Tech, world-ending threats. Even when the story got personal, it still felt like he was growing up inside someone else's world. Brand New Day flips that. This Peter is older, more independent, and most importantly, he's alone. No mentor waiting in the wings. No team standing behind him. When he makes a decision, he lives with the consequences. That change alone gives the whole movie a different energy. It's smaller, more personal, closer to that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man a lot of us have been wanting from Tom Holland for years. New York doesn't feel like a random backdrop for action. It feels like his city. The streets, the apartments, the local crime, the people living around him. The world feels grounded, but grounded doesn't mean boring. There are still big MCU characters. There are still some major action set pieces, and the movie has a few real surprises. The difference is those things don't swallow Peter's story. Because of that, Tom Holland delivers what might be his best solo performance yet. His Peter feels more mature, without suddenly becoming a different person. He's still awkward, still funny, still has that nervous energy that made him so likable, but now there's weight behind it. You can feel that No Way Home changed him, and the movie doesn't need to constantly remind you. You see it in how he keeps people at a distance. You feel it in how hard he throws himself into being Spider-Man, and you hear it in the quiet moments when he barely says anything at all. That's the heart of this film. It's not just about Peter fighting bad guys. It's about whether Peter Parker can build a life again, or whether he's slowly going to disappear inside Spider-Man. That clear, emotional through line is what holds everything together. Even when the story gets bigger, it keeps coming back to him. Now, let's talk about the suit, because it looks incredible. It feels more classic, more physical, more like something a real person actually made and wears. When Spider-Man moves, you believe there's a human being inside that suit. That might sound small, but it completely changes the action. The web swinging has weight. The landings feel hard. When he gets thrown across a room or fights in a tight space, you can actually follow what's happening. The movie doesn't cut every half second just to manufacture energy. It lets the movement breathe. You can tell Destin Daniel Cretton wanted the fights to feel physical. And if you've seen Shang-Chi, you already know how good he is at that. He brings some of that same energy here, and it works really well with Spider-Man. Yes, there's still plenty of CGI. This is a huge superhero movie. But the effects mostly feel like they're completing the scene instead of replacing it. That balance makes Spider-Man feel faster, more vulnerable, and honestly, cooler. Then there's Hulk. I'm not going to tell you why he's here or how he connects to Peter. All I'll say is this. If you've been waiting for the MCU to make Hulk feel dangerous again, you're going to be happy. This Hulk feels powerful. He sounds intimidating. And when the movie finally lets him loose, you remember why people are supposed to be terrified of him. He doesn't feel like a big green supporting character who shows up for jokes. He feels like a force, the kind that can change an entire scene just by walking into it. Mark Ruffalo gets something different to play here compared to recent appearances. But the important part, even with Hulk in the movie, Brand New Day never forgets whose story this is. This is still Peter's movie. Same goes for Jon Bernthal's Punisher. Putting Spider-Man and the Punisher in the same film is such a fun idea because these two characters could not be more different. Peter is constantly trying to stop people from crossing the line. Frank Castle basically lives on the other side of it. Every time they're together, there's tension and also some surprisingly funny moments. The movie finds a smart way to keep Punisher feeling like Punisher while still making him work inside a Spider-Man story. Bernthal brings the same intensity he always does, and his chemistry with Tom Holland is rough, unpredictable, and sometimes genuinely funny. I just wish the movie had given them a little more time together. And that leads into my biggest issue with Brand New Day. This movie is trying to do a lot. It has to rebuild Peter's world, introduce a more street-level side of New York, bring in new characters, continue old relationships, and set up future stories. Most of those ideas are good. The problem is the movie sometimes moves through them too quickly. There are street-level villains who are fun, but don't get enough time to really stick. A new idea shows up, grabs your attention, and then the film is already onto the next thing. It doesn't ruin the experience, but you can feel that Marvel is treating this as the first chapter of a new trilogy. Some answers are clearly being saved for later. I know that might frustrate people who want every leftover question from No Way Home answered right now. But Brand New Day isn't trying to live in the past. It respects what happened. The emotional consequences are still everywhere, but instead of turning the movie into a checklist of old plot threads, it pushes Peter into a new stage of his life. Personally, I think that was the right call. MJ and Ned are important, and I'm going to be careful here. I won't explain how they're involved or what happens between them and Peter. What I can say is that the movie understands what they mean to him. They're not just familiar faces brought back for applause. Their connection to Peter is part of the emotional conflict he's dealing with. And then there's Sadie Sink. I'm not going to say much. The mystery is part of the experience, and even explaining her role a little too clearly could change how you watch the movie. So I'll just say this, she makes a strong first impression. It's very obvious Marvel has bigger plans for her. Once people see this film, the theories are going to go crazy. The supporting cast is strong overall. I just wish the script had given every character a bit more room to breathe. The music is also really good. It still has that classic Spider-Man emotion, but it gives Brand New Day its own identity. The score works best in the quieter moments, when the action stops, when Peter is alone, and when you can really feel the life he lost. Those quiet scenes matter, because this movie could have easily become overcrowded. Yes, there are connections to the larger MCU. Yes, there are surprises. Yes, some things in this movie will matter later, but thankfully, it never feels like a 2-hour commercial for the next Avengers film. And that might be the most encouraging thing about Brand New Day. For the first time in a while, it feels like Marvel let a Spider-Man movie focus on Spider-Man. So is it the best Spider-Man movie ever made? No. The pacing isn't perfect. Some characters are underdeveloped. A few storylines are clearly being saved for another film. But is this the most promising direction for Tom Holland's Spider-Man? I think it might be. Brand New Day makes Peter more mature without taking away his heart. It gives us a grounded world without removing the spectacle. And it finally brings Tom Holland closer to that struggling, independent, street-level Spider-Man so many fans have been waiting for. More than anything, this movie made me excited about his Spider-Man again. Final rating, it's 8.5 out of 10. It's not flawless, but it successfully starts a new era and leaves Peter Parker in a place with a lot of potential. If you've already seen it, tell me what you thought in the comments. Just keep it spoiler-free for everyone who hasn't watched yet, because this is only the beginning. Next week, right here on Infinity Decoded, we're going inside the ending, the hidden details, the Easter eggs, the comic book references, and everything this movie sets up for the future of the MCU. And trust me, there is one detail in that ending that could change far more than just Peter Parker's future. Maybe it's just a theory, until Marvel proves us wrong.